This academy was founded in Ukraine to share the experience of our country, how we counteract Russian aggression, how we counteract Russian aggression in information sphere, as well as in cyber sphere. Russia spread lies about civil war in Ukraine, about inability of current authority to lead the state, about anti-constitutional revolution in our country. Even Russian president strongly denied the invasion of Ukraine despite of presence of irrefutable evidence. Here you can see the evolution of his fake opinion from 2015 till March 2014 till 15. At first he said that it was local self-defense units in Crimea, and then in March 2015 he talked about very good operation of security forces and intelligence community of the Russian Federation. Before the active stage of military campaign, an appropriate basis had been already set up in Ukraine. It consisted of numerous think tanks, academics, research centers, media, financed by the Russian Federation, etc., who spread public anti-Ukrainian content. Nowadays, Russia operates in our country through controlled media, Moscow Patriarchate Church, as well as controlled media, primarily with the Russian language content, and of course bots and trolls in the internet. Obviously, while we are discussing the particular issues of information impacts and cyber attacks against our country, thousands of Russian bots, trolls and hackers are implementing their venomous and raucous attacks against not only our country, but against all democratic international community. One of the tools to counteract Russian aggression in information sphere were the sanctions against software developers as well as the owners of internet services, for example, Yandex.ru, Mail.ru, and some social media Одноклассники, Vkontakte, who were used by the Russian authorities to conduct subversion against Ukraine. Such measures were positively perceived by Ukrainian population. And it's very important for not only for us, but for the whole democratic community to make sanctions against companies and as well as against managers who spread propaganda and fake news, disinformation about different events in economy and political sphere and other spheres of democratic community. We can say that as a part of a hybrid warfare against Ukraine and other countries, Russia often uses the cyber attacks, information impacts, as well bribing politicians, supporting populists, financing media, and so on, in order to destruct the existence of democratic institutions. What EU should do or can do for protect democratic values, for cooperate with Ukraine? I hope that nowadays EU member states have the consequences of the same attacks against your population, against your governmental structures, and we have to cooperate in this sphere using our experience. On our side, we will print a brief about how to enhance media literacy and how to distinguish real news from manipulative. Which projects was created in Ukraine were created in Ukraine during last 4 years to enhance media literacy. And I think that this will be the answer about the directions in which we can cooperate with EU member states.
In general, if we are speaking about the Russian disinformation in the context of Crimea, its goal is to distort facts in a beneficial way, favorable for Russia. And if we are speaking about the situation in Crimea, in the illegally occupied Crimea itself, then it is hard to tell about some distinct disinformation campaigns, because Russia has scorched the media space inside Crimea as a part of its policy of total control of physical and virtual space. It ousted all independent medias. As an example, we can remember the Crimean Tatar TV channel ATR, and replaced them with loyal media outlets, often directly controlled by the Russian government. In this situation, people in Crimea are deprived of the possibilities to freely access truthful information, and limited in this mostly to the internet, for example, social networks, and internet-based media outlets like launched by Radio Free Europe project Crimea Realities in 2014. Russia conducts massive propaganda in Crimea, which is even much more stronger than it is in Russia itself. In such situation, people in Crimea, activists came up with the idea of citizen journalists. These activists particularly provide live video streams of unlawful searches and arrests conducted by the occupation authorities. In response, the occupation authorities, Russia, applies repressions against them. This is illustrated by massive searches and unlawful arrests of at least 23 Crimean Tatars on 27th of March.
Another audience which faces the hybrid war and is used as an audience to exercise this hybrid war with Ukraine is of course the international community, because the Russian Federation tries to reshape the political elites, tries to interfere elections, for example, in several countries, so that people who are supporting Russia or are keen to share pro-Russian ideology and narratives, they do support Russia and they promote its interests, as well as they share those negative image of Ukraine, where the image of Ukraine is being discredited